The plasma bolt sizzled past Commander Vex Meridian's helmet, leaving a molten scar across the concrete barrier. He pressed his back against the rubble, feeling the heat radiating through his tactical armor as another wave of alien energy weapons lit up the pre-dawn darkness of New Denver. Status report Kestrel 7. He barked into his comm unit, watching the skeletal remains of skyscrapers silhouetted against the red sky. The atmosphere processors the hegemony had deployed were working overtime, slowly transforming Earth's air into something breathable for their silicon-based overlords. Perimeter holding but barely, came the crackling reply from Lieutenant Zara Nightwind, her voice tight with exhaustion. The 4th and Advanced Scouts are probing our eastern defenses. They've got those new hover tanks, Commander. Our railgun emplacements are getting chewed up. Meridian cursed under his breath. 3 years since the galactic hegemony had declared humanity incompatible with civilized space and begun their systematic extermination. 3 years since the orbital bombardment had turned most of Earth into a wasteland of glass and ash. New Denver, built in the ruins of the old city and protected by a network of underground bunkers and energy shields salvaged from crashed alien ships, was humanity's last stronghold. Population, 847,000 souls. Down from 8 billion. Acknowledged. Kestrel 7. Fall back to checkpoint Delta 9. We're implementing Protocol Lazarus. A pause. Sir, that's the quantum resonance array. If we activate it now, I know what it is, Lieutenant. Meridian closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of command settle on his shoulders like a lead blanket. Protocol Lazarus was their trump card, reverse-engineered from hegemony technology by Dr. Axel Corvus and his team of rogue scientists. It would either save them all, or vaporize half the continent. The hegemony fleet just dropped out of FTL. We've got maybe 6 hours before they glass everything from orbit. The ground shook as a massive Vorton Warstrider crested the rubble-strewn hill to the north, its 6 spider-like legs crushing abandoned vehicles as it advanced. The machine stood 3 stories tall, bristling with energy cannons and kinetic accelerators. Its sensors swept the area with malevolent red beams hunting for human signatures. Meridian activated his squad's encrypted channel. Ghost Company, this is actual. Target acquired bearing 035. Phantom, you're up. From a concealed position 2 clicks away, Master Sergeant Kira Voidhawk's voice came through crystal clear. I see him, Commander, big, ugly, and about to have a very bad day. The anti-materiel rifle's hypervelocity round traveled faster than sound, a tungsten penetrator wrapped in an electromagnetic field that could punch through alien armor like paper. The Warstrider's central sensor cluster exploded in a shower of sparks and crystalline fragments. The machine stumbled, its remaining sensors struggling to compensate. Direct hit. Target is blind but not down. Copy that, Phantom. All units converge on the crippled Strider. We need that tech intact for Corvus. Meridian vaulted over his cover, sprinting toward the wounded machine as his soldiers emerged from concealment like ghosts materializing from the ruins. The Warstrider's automated defense systems activated, spraying suppressing fire in all directions. But without its primary sensors, it was firing blind. The American resistance had learned to exploit every weakness in alien technology, paid for in blood and desperation over 3 years of guerrilla warfare. As Meridian reached the machine's base, he could see the hegemony ships hanging in orbit like silver daggers against the morning sky. Time was running out for humanity's last city, but they wouldn't go down without a fight. Dr. Axel Corvus wiped sweat from his brow as he bent over the quantum resonance array, his weathered hands steady despite the magnitude of what he was attempting. The underground laboratory buzzed with activity as his team made final adjustments to humanity's most desperate weapon. The harmonic frequencies are still unstable, warned Dr. Nova Starling, her fingers dancing across holographic displays that showed cascading energy patterns. If we miscalculate the resonance dampening, we could tear a hole in space-time itself. Better than letting the hegemony finish what they started, Corvus replied grimly. Through the reinforced viewport, he could see the alien fleet repositioning for orbital bombardment. Massive dreadnoughts the size of city blocks hung in the void, their weapon systems charging with ominous light. The laboratory's blast doors hissed open, and Commander Meridian strode in, his tactical suit scorched and battle-worn. Behind him, two soldiers wheeled in a hover cart containing fragments of the destroyed Vorthon Warstrider. "Tell me you've got good news, Doc," Meridian said, setting his helmet on the nearest workbench. "Because we just lost the northern perimeter. The hegemony ground forces are massing for a final assault." Corvus gestured to the quantum array, a maze of crystalline conduits and pulsing energy cores that filled the cavern's center. "This device will broadcast a quantum signature that disrupts the molecular cohesion of silicon-based life forms. Essentially, it turns their own biology against them. Range? If our calculations are correct, approximately 50,000 kilometers, enough to reach the orbital fleet." Meridian's eyes widened. That's system-wide coverage. What about organic life?" Dr. Starling looked up from her console, her expression troubled. "Carbon-based organisms should be unaffected. Should be. We've run simulations, but..." She gestured helplessly. "There's no way to test something like this without actually using it." The facility's alarm system suddenly blared to life, bathing the laboratory in pulsing red light. Lieutenant Nightwind's voice crackled over the intercom. "Commander, we've got incoming. Hegemony dropships are breaching the shield perimeter. They're landing troops inside the city." Meridian grabbed his helmet. "How long do you need, Corvus?" 20 minutes for final calibration. Maybe 15 if we skip the safety protocols." "Skip them?" Meridian was already moving toward the exit. "And Doc, if this doesn't work, make sure there's nothing left for them to study. Humanity's secrets die with us." As the commander disappeared into the corridor, Corvus turned back to his work with renewed urgency. The quantum array hummed with increasing intensity, its crystalline components glowing with barely contained energy. This technology had been torn from the wreckage of a hegemony science vessel, reverse-engineered through 3 years of desperate research. "Initiating primary harmonic sequence," Dr. Starling announced, her voice steady despite the chaos erupting above them. Through the facility's sensor network, they could see hegemony shock troops advancing through New Denver's streets. The aliens moved with fluid grace, their crystalline bodies refracting the morning light as they cut through human defenses. "Corvus," came a new voice over the comm. Captain Rex Ironwing from the surface. "You need to see this. The hegemony fleet is powering up their planet crackers. We've got maybe 10 minutes before they turn this whole continent into molten slag." The quantum array's core began to pulse with blinding intensity. Energy readings spiked beyond anything they'd achieved. In testing, Corvus felt the hair on his arm stand up as exotic particles flooded the chamber. "Nova, are you seeing this?" he whispered, staring at the readouts. "The quantum field is achieving stable coherence on its own. It's like the device is learning, adapting." Dr. Starling's face went pale. "Axel, those aren't our power readings. Something else is feeding energy into the array. Something from..." She paused, running rapid calculations. "From outside our dimensional framework." Above them, the sounds of battle grew closer. Plasma bolts scorched the air as the last defenders of humanity made their stand. But in the depths of the laboratory, something unprecedented was happening. The quantum resonance array wasn't just a weapon anymore. It had become a gateway, and something was coming through. The quantum array erupted in a cascade of impossible colors as reality itself seemed to bend around the device. Dr. Corvus staggered backward, shielding his eyes from the brilliant emanation that defied every law of physics he understood. "The dimensional barriers are collapsing," Dr. Starling shouted over the rising harmonic frequency that made their bones vibrate. "We're getting massive readings from parallel quantum states." Through the growing tear in space-time, shapes began to emerge. Not the silicon-based forms of the hegemony, but something else entirely. Humanoid figures in advanced armor that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, their faces hidden behind helmets that pulsed with inner light. "Corvus, what the hell is happening down there?" Commander Meridian's voice crackled through the comm, punctuated by the sound of explosions. "We're reading massive energy spikes, and the hegemony forces just stopped. They're backing away from the city." The lead figure stepped fully through the dimensional breach, removing its helmet to reveal features that were unmistakably human, but evolved, refined. The woman's eyes held depths of knowledge and experience that spoke of centuries of life. "From Field Marshal Elena Quantum 7, she said, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "We represent the human ascendancy from the parallel timeline designated Omega Prime." Dr. Corvus found his voice, though it came out as barely a whisper. Human ascendancy? A reality where humanity survived the hegemony invasion, adapted their technology, and eventually surpassed our oppressors, Elena explained, her armor systems interfacing directly with the laboratory's computers. "We've been monitoring your quantum experiments across dimensional barriers. Your resonance array created a beacon we could finally lock onto." More figures emerged from the breach. Soldiers, scientists, engineers, all human, but transformed by technologies that merged biology with quantum mechanics. Their very presence seemed to stabilize the chaotic energy surrounding the array. "The hegemony forces are retreating," reported Lieutenant Nightwind over the comm. "Whatever you did down there, it's working. They're pulling back to their ships." Elena's expression hardened. "They sense our presence. In our timeline, we fought a war that lasted 200 years. The hegemony learned to fear evolved humanity." She turned to Corvus. "Your quantum array isn't just a weapon, it's a dimensional anchor. With proper calibration, we can maintain this bridge between realities." "You're offering to help us," Corvus said, understanding dawning in his eyes. "We're offering evolution," Elena corrected. "The same path we took. But it requires a choice from your people. Remain as you are and face extinction, or embrace transformation and join the greater human collective across the multiverse." Commander Meridian's voice suddenly erupted from the speakers. "All units, massive contact emerging from FTL. Unknown vessels, but they're beautiful, and they're broadcasting human identification codes." Through the facility's external sensors, they watched as sleek ships materialized in Earth's orbit. Vessels that seemed grown rather than built, their hulls flowing like organic tissue while bristling with weaponry that made hegemony technology look primitive. The Ascendancy fleet had arrived. "Our dreadnought Eternal Defiance is moving to engage the hegemony fleet," Elena announced. "But this is more than a rescue mission. We're here to offer your people a choice that will define the future of humanity across all realities." Dr. Starling stared at the data flowing through her systems. "The technological integration possibilities are staggering. But what about those who choose not to evolve?" Elena's expression softened slightly. "Evolution is a choice, not a mandate. Those who wish to remain baseline human will be protected and transported to sanctuary worlds. But those who choose enhancement will gain abilities beyond imagination. Thought speed computation, dimensional perception, biological immortality." The sounds of battle had completely ceased above them. Through the quantum link, they could feel the hegemony fleet beginning to withdraw, their ship's engines spinning up for FTL escape. "They're running," Commander Meridian reported, disbelief evident in his voice. "The entire hegemony fleet is retreating." Elena nodded grimly. "They remember the wars. They remember losing." She turned to address the entire facility through the comm system. "People of New Denver, of Earth, of humanity's last stand, your darkest hour has passed. But your greatest choice lies ahead." The dimensional breach pulsed with stable energy, a permanent gateway between realities that would change everything. Above them, the Ascendancy fleet spread protective wings over humanity's last city, while below the future of human civilization hung in the balance. The age of hiding was over. The age of ascension had begun. Commander Meridian stood in the central plaza of New Denver, watching in amazement as Ascendancy engineers worked alongside his own people to repair the city's infrastructure. The alien technology integrated seamlessly with human designs, creating hybrid systems that operated with impossible efficiency. "The quantum stabilizers are online," reported Chief Engineer Dante Stellar, his eyes wide with wonder. "These power systems are beyond anything we imagined. Clean, limitless energy that phases directly from zero-point quantum foam. Around them, civilians emerged from the underground shelters, their faces showing a mixture of hope and uncertainty. The hegemony blockade that had strangled Earth for 3 years was gone, scattered by the appearance of the Ascendancy fleet. But the choice Elena had offered weighed heavily on everyone's minds. Field Marshal Elena Quantum 7 approached, her form-fitting armor adapting to the morning light. Beside her walked Captain Orion Nexus Prime, his consciousness visibly networked with multiple data streams that flowed around him like digital auroras. "The evacuation ships are ready," Elena announced. "Those who wish to relocate to sanctuary worlds can begin boarding within the hour. The planet Harmony 7 has been prepared for baseline human colonization. Earth-like atmosphere, established infrastructure, protected by our defense grid." "And the enhancement process?" Meridian asked, though he already suspected his own answer. Captain Nexus Prime stepped forward, his voice carrying harmonic undertones that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the mind. "The Ascension Protocol requires 3 phases. Neural augmentation to interface with quantum consciousness networks, biological optimization to extend lifespan and enhance physical capabilities. Finally, dimensional perception enhancement to see across multiple reality layers." Dr. Corvus emerged from the laboratory complex, his assistant Dr. Starling beside him. Both carried data tablets displaying readouts that defied conventional understanding. "I've been analyzing their technology," Corvus said, his voice filled with scientific excitement. "The enhancement process doesn't replace human biology. It elevates it. Neural pathways are expanded, not altered. Cellular regeneration is accelerated, not artificially sustained. It's evolution, guided and accelerated." Group of resistance fighters approached, led by Lieutenant Nightwind and Master Sergeant Voidhawk. Their faces showed the weariness of 3 years of desperate warfare, but also the spark of those who had refused to surrender. "Commander," Nightwind said, "the troops are asking questions about the choice, about what happens to those who stay human." Elena addressed the gathering crowd. "No one will be abandoned. Those who choose enhancement will gain abilities to protect and serve the greater human collective. Those who choose to remain unchanged will live full lives on protected worlds, free from the threats that plagued your original Earth." "But there's something else," Captain Nexus Prime added, his multi-dimensional awareness focusing on the group. "The hegemony isn't gone. They've retreated to regroup. They're developing new weapons, new strategies. This sanctuary is temporary unless humanity chooses to become something more." Master Sergeant Voidhawk stepped forward, her sniper's instincts, reading the tactical situation with crystal clarity. "How many realities are we talking about? How many versions of humanity are out there?" "Thousands," Elena replied simply. "Some fell to the hegemony. Others survived but never advanced. A few, like ours, transcended the conflict entirely. But you're the first to create a stable dimensional anchor during active warfare. That makes you unique." Dr. Starling looked up from her tablet, her expression troubled. "I'm detecting quantum signatures from the retreating hegemony fleet. They're not just withdrawing. They're calling for reinforcements from other realities. The implications hit everyone simultaneously. The hegemony had their own multiverse presence, their own versions of dimensional warfare. Earth's liberation was just the opening move in a conflict that spanned infinite realities. The choice becomes clearer," Commander Meridian said quietly. "Remain human and remain vulnerable, or evolve and fight back." Elena nodded gravely. "The hegemony has learned to cross dimensional barriers. They're assembling forces from realities where they successfully exterminated humanity. Our intelligence suggests a massive fleet, possibly from hundreds of conquered realities." "When?" Meridian asked. 6 months, maybe less. They're adapting our technology, learning from this encounter. Next time, they'll come prepared for enhanced humans." The plaza fell silent as the weight of decisions settled on everyone present. Children played among the rubble while their parents contemplated choices that would echo across eternity. The resistance fighters who had held the line against impossible odds now faced their greatest challenge yet, deciding what humanity should become. "The enhancement process," Dr. Corvus said slowly. "How long does it take?" Captain Nexus Prime's consciousness briefly expanded, interfacing with the Ascendancy Fleet's medical bays. 72 hours for full integration, but we can begin immediately. Our bioships are equipped with enhancement chambers for up to 10,000 individuals simultaneously. Commander Meridian looked out over his city, his people, his species' last stand. The decision he made in the next few minutes would determine whether humanity joined the ranks of the Ascended or remained forever vulnerable to forces that spanned the multiverse. The future of human civilization rested in their hands. The transformation chambers aboard the Ascendancy bioship Evolutionary Dawn hummed with quantum energy as the first wave of volunteers began their enhancement process. Commander Meridian watched through the observation deck as Dr. Corvus, Lieutenant Nightwind, and 50 other resistance fighters underwent the three-phase ascension. The neural integration is proceeding faster than expected, reported Dr. Nova Starling, who had chosen to remain baseline human to document the process. Their consciousness is expanding beyond normal parameters, but they're maintaining individual identity. Field Marshal Elena stood beside her, monitoring the bio readings through her enhanced perception. Your people have remarkable adaptability. Most humans in our reality required months of preparation. Your experience with warfare and survival has accelerated the bonding process. Through the transparent walls of the chambers, they could see the volunteers' bodies beginning to change. Skin took on a subtle luminescence as cellular regeneration accelerated. Neural pathways glowed faintly as quantum consciousness networks integrated with organic thought processes. Most remarkably, their eyes began to show depths that seemed to extend beyond normal dimensional boundaries. Phase 2 commencing, announced. The bioship's consciousness, its voice a harmonic blend of organic and artificial intelligence. Biological optimization proceeding within normal parameters. Subjects are showing increased bone density, enhanced muscle fiber coherence, and accelerated healing factors. Master Sergeant Voidhawk was the first to open her eyes, and when she did, her gaze seemed to pierce through multiple layers of reality simultaneously. I can see everything. The quantum threads connecting all possible realities. The hegemonies, approach vectors across dimensional space. Her voice carried new harmonics that resonated with enhanced perception. Kira? Meridian called out, concern evident in his voice. She turned toward him, and her enhanced consciousness immediately interfaced with his baseline human awareness. It's still me, Commander, but more. I can perceive the hegemony fleet formations across 17 different reality layers. They're closer than we thought. Captain Orion Nexus Prime's attention suddenly snapped to full alert. Contact. Massive. Hegemony force emerging from multidimensional FTL. Estimated arrival time, 6 hours. Through the bioship's quantum sensors, they watched as reality tears opened in the space beyond Pluto's orbit. Ship after ship emerged, their designs amalgamated from hundreds of conquered realities. Hegemony dreadnoughts bristling with planet killing. Weapons supported by scout fleets that moved like schools of predatory fish through the void. How many? Elena asked, though her enhanced perception was already calculating the numbers. 12,000 primary vessels, possibly 100,000 support craft. They've assembled forces from every reality where they achieved victory. Nexus Prime's consciousness expanded, linking with the Ascendancy Fleet's tactical network. This is their final solution. They intend to erase humanity from all possible realities simultaneously. Down in the enhancement chambers, Dr. Corvus completed his transformation, his consciousness immediately expanding to encompass the tactical situation. The quantum resonance array, he said, his voice now carrying multi-dimensional harmonics. We can modify it to create a reality cascade. Instead of just affecting local space, we can broadcast the effect across dimensional barriers. That would require enormous energy output, Dr. Starling protested. The power requirements would be astronomical. Not if we network it with the Ascendancy Fleet, Corvus replied, his enhanced mind already running quantum calculations. Every enhanced human becomes a living amplifier. We create a distributed consciousness network that spans realities. Lieutenant Nightwind, now fully ascended, interfaced directly with the ship's systems. I'm detecting something else. The hegemony isn't just bringing ships. They're bringing weapons that can sever dimensional connections. They want to isolate us in this reality before destroying us. Commander Meridian felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders once again. Around him, his people were transforming into something beyond baseline humanity, while others had chosen to evacuate to sanctuary worlds. The resistance that had held New Denver through 3 years of desperate warfare was evolving into something unprecedented. How many have chosen enhancement? He asked. Elena's consciousness interfaced with the evacuation statistics.
400,000. Another 200,000 are relocating to sanctuary worlds. The remaining population has requested transport to other human colonies. And the choice is final? The biological changes are irreversible, Elena confirmed.
But the consciousness expansion is voluntary. Enhanced humans can choose to limit their multidimensional awareness when necessary. Meridian looked out at the approaching hegemony fleet, then at his transforming people. The choice was no longer just about survival. It was about what humanity would become in the face of a threat that spanned infinite realities. Begin Phase 3 of the enhancement process, he commanded, and prepare the quantum cascade. If the hegemony wants to erase humanity from all realities, they're about to learn what evolved humans are capable of. The bioship's consciousness hummed with approval as the final phase of ascension began. Around them, 400,000 humans began their transformation into something the multiverse had never seen before. A distributed consciousness network capable of existing across multiple realities simultaneously. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin, and it would be fought not just in space but across the infinite tapestries of existence itself. The quantum cascade network spread across space like a web of living light, connecting the enhanced humans aboard. The Ascendancy fleet with the modified resonance array on Earth's surface. Commander Meridian, now in the final stages of his own transformation, felt his consciousness expand beyond individual thought into something collective yet distinctly human. Network synchronization at 97%, reported Dr. Corvus, his enhanced awareness now interfacing directly with quantum mechanics. We have established stable connections across 43 parallel realities. The cascade effect is building exponentially. Through the enhanced perception shared by all ascended humans, they could see the hegemony fleet approaching from multiple dimensional angles simultaneously. The alien armada wasn't just massive, it was multidimensional, with ships phasing in and out of reality layers to create an unstoppable offensive formation. Hegemony lead elements entering the outer system, announced Master Sergeant Voidhawk, her consciousness now operating across 17 different tactical scenarios simultaneously. They're broadcasting a termination protocol on all quantum frequencies. They intend to collapse this reality's dimensional stability entirely. Field Marshal Elena's presence flowed through the network, her centuries of experience guiding the collective consciousness. This is beyond warfare as we understood it. They're not trying to conquer. They're trying to erase humanity from the quantum foundation of existence itself. But something unprecedented was happening within the human network. The combination of baseline human creativity, enhanced quantum consciousness, and multidimensional perception was creating something entirely new. The ascended humans weren't just communicating, they were becoming a distributed intelligence that spanned realities while maintaining individual identity. I'm detecting quantum signatures from other realities, Lieutenant Nightwind reported, her enhanced senses piercing through dimensional barriers. There are other versions of us out there. Realities where humanity survived but never encountered the ascendancy. They're responding to our cascade. The revelation hit the network like a lightning bolt. The quantum resonance wasn't just affecting their local reality. It was awakening humanity across the entire multiverse. In dimension after dimension, versions of Earth that had survived the hegemony invasion were suddenly gaining access to enhanced consciousness and dimensional perception. Confirmed, Dr. Corvus announced, his scientific mind racing through implications. We're creating a multiversal human collective. Every reality where humanity exists is being linked through quantum entanglement. Through the growing network, they began to perceive the true scope of the conflict. The hegemony had conquered thousands of realities, but they had never faced a species capable of multidimensional unity. Humanity's greatest strength, their ability to cooperate while maintaining individuality, was being amplified across infinite realities. Hegemony forces entering weapons range, Captain Nexus Prime reported. They're charging planet crackers and reality severance weapons. All human vessels implement protocol unity, Commander Meridian commanded, his consciousness now encompassing tactical awareness across multiple realities. Ascendancy Fleet, prepare for multi-dimensional engagement. The battle that followed defied conventional description. Hegemony ships launched attacks that tore through space-time itself, while the human fleet responded with weapons that operated through quantum consciousness rather than mere technology. Enhanced humans aboard the ships became living conduits for energies that spanned dimensional barriers. But the real battle was happening on a level beyond physical space. The multiversal human collective was engaging the hegemony's own interdimensional network in a conflict of pure consciousness. Reality itself became the battlefield as two incompatible forms of existence clashed across infinite possibilities. The hegemony network is fragmenting, reported Dr. Starling, who had chosen to remain baseline human to serve as an objective observer. Their silicon-based consciousness can't adapt to multidimensional warfare the way organic minds can. Through the quantum cascade, they could feel versions of humanity from thousands of realities joining the collective. Each brought their own knowledge, their own innovations, their own desperate desire to survive and thrive. The accumulated wisdom and creativity of human civilization across infinite realities focused into a single purpose. Their reality weapons are failing, Elena announced, her enhanced perception tracking the hegemony's retreat across multiple dimensions. They're losing cohesion. The collective consciousness is too adaptable, too creative for their rigid command structures. The hegemony fleet began to withdraw, their ships phasing out of reality as they fell back to dimensions where they still held dominance. But something fundamental had changed. The multiversal human collective continued to grow, reality by reality, consciousness by consciousness. Final phase of the cascade is complete, Dr. Corvus reported. Humanity now exists as a stable multidimensional collective, while maintaining individual identity in each reality. We've achieved something unprecedented, evolutionary transcendence without losing what makes us human. Commander Meridian felt the weight of command transform into something new, responsibility not just for his people, but for humanity, across all realities. The last human city had become the first node in an infinite network that would ensure their species never faced extinction alone again. The resistance is over, he announced to the collective consciousness. The age of infinite humanity has begun. Across the multiverse, in realities beyond counting, humanity had found its destiny, not as conquerors, but as guardians of consciousness itself, proving that the most powerful force in existence was the indomitable spirit of those who refused to surrender their dreams of tomorrow. The hegemony had learned to fear evolved humanity, but they had yet to understand what they had truly awakened. The war for existence itself had only just begun, and humanity was ready to defend not just their reality, but the very concept of free will across infinite dimensions. In the depths of space, the quantum cascade continued to expand, carrying with it the promise that wherever consciousness existed, wherever beings dared to dream of freedom, humanity would be there to ensure those dreams could flourish. The last human city had become the first of infinite cities, and the species that had once faced extinction now stood as guardians of existence itself across the endless tapestries of reality.